Hey there, guys. Anthony here. Coolio Vids, whatever you want to call me. I am here today to bring you something a little different than normal, I guess. I don't know. This channel isn't really anything anymore. I just do Grundy. So to say that I'm bringing something different doesn't mean anything. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 Disney films. My good friend, my pal, my acquaintance at best, Frank, also known as ChiefBrodyRules, recently released a video talking about his top 10 Disney films, and he goes really in depth in it, and it's awesome. I'm a huge Disney guy, so if you like Disney, go check out his video. It's a fun time. That inspired me to create my own top 10 Disney films. Now, my list is going to be a bit different from his. I was born in 95, so a lot of the films I was exposed to at the time are a bit different, so my views on films aren't going to be the same as his if you're coming from that video. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just to let you know, so like, Pocahontas isn't on here because that's not a film I grew up with. I didn't really care about Native Americans. That's offensive, I'm sorry. Other films aren't going to be on here, just to let you know. Mulan is not on here. I walked out of that theater as a child, apparently, but I'm getting off topic. Let's just go into the movies, shall we? Number 10. My number 10 is actually a recent Disney film, Tangled. Now, what you're thinking, Tangled? That's new and it's 3D. And it's like, well, yeah, I know. Tangled was a film where, obviously, I was a bit, growing up, not really caring about animated Disney films anymore. But then I saw Tangled, and it reminded me just why I like Disney. This movie's fun. This movie has interesting characters. I really love Rapunzel in this. She comes out as like a wild, free spirit that just needs to, break free. And I'm not usually for like a character where it's like, oh, let me be free and do what I want. It's like I like free spirits, but to a point. But I feel like this character really pulls it off. I feel like the main male character, what's his face? He's really interesting. I haven't watched this movie in a while. This is a very impromptu video. I don't know if I'm going to do much editing with this. I could just throw up a still image and say, list the movie. Who knows? Either way, I just hope you find it interesting. Tangled is just a fun film in my opinion. And like I said, it re-sparked my love for Disney and my inner child, and to a point where, I've already gone through a phase where I was fine with myself liking comic books and superheroes, but this is the point where I was like, I can just like all things that I liked as a kid for the most part. So this really did bring back Disney, in my opinion. Now, I obviously, with it being an animated Disney film and the way it is, and these certain characters appearing in another certain animated film, I feel inclined to go see Frozen. I have yet to see it. I'll see it eventually, but as far as right now, Tangled is great. So, yeah, that's cool. I love the songs in this. Mother Knows Best is a really fun song. She's evil and stuff, and I like that line, how she's like, oh, so-and-so in the mirror, she's so beautiful, and oh, look, you're here too. I like that. Anyways, that's my number 10. I like Disney. That's what that movie means to me. Number 9. My number 9 is Tarzan. Yes. A lot of Phil Collins. 2 worlds, 1 family. Trust your heart. Let faith decide. This movie's about monkeys. It's not about monkeys. It's about apes. That was offensive once again. This is just, where is this going? Tarzan was definitely a film that I grew up with. It was a big part of my childhood. And I think a main part of this, as you just heard, was the music. I feel like the music really attached me to this film. Because as far as character-wise, they're all right. Newman, the elephant. It's not his name. It's his name. He's okay. Rosie O'Donnell as an ape, almost said monkey. As an ape was all right. Tarzan himself is okay. The only really characters I get a kick out of are Clayton and the dad, the little small British guy. You see, those are fun. And Jane is fun too. But as far as other characters go, I don't really care for them. But I feel like just the what's the word I'm looking for? The music and just the non-stop adventure, I feel like, in that film. Like something cool is happening, like whenever you're going through the trees and doing all this fun stuff, I feel like there's always something cool happening on screen. Yeah, I think that's really the main reason why I like it so much, is that it really captured my attention as a kid, and it was cool. Yeah, fun time. That's really all I have to say about Tarzan. Number 8 is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Anthony, you're going all over the place with your list. And it's like, well, if you're thinking about what really defines an animated film on my list, it was on Wikipedia. I typed in Disney animated films, and whatever showed up on Wikipedia, I put on the list. So, there you go. But this is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh was another film, much younger in my childhood, but it was definitely a big part of my childhood. I had Winnie the Pooh plushes and toys and books, and I remember listening to the books on tape, and it'd be like, when you hear this sound, turn the page, on my little tape recorder. Yeah, so Winnie the Pooh definitely was like a big part of my very young childhood where I was just growing up. So this movie is definitely something I remember. I love Winnie the Pooh getting stuck in a hole. See, that's the thing. People forget. It's like Winnie the Pooh getting stuck in the honey tree. That's at the end, and he's like, oh, this honey, oh, bother. Like, he's not upset about it. He's like, oh my God, all the honey. That's a different part of the film. He gets stuck in a hole, and there's a little gopher, and he's like, well, that's swell. Like, he whistles. All these characters are super fun. I love Tigger. Tigger's really cool. He's just like the cool, fun, bouncy guy of the group. I enjoy him a lot. I enjoy Piglet. I really enjoy Eeyore. What was the laughter? I don't know if you heard that, but I did. I love Eeyore. He's voiced by Optimus Prime. Like, that's just great. I feel like all these characters, like, noticing that it's a cartoon about like a young boy with stuffed animals that have personalities, that really played close to me because I was a kid with a lot of toys, and also growing up with Toy Story, which isn't on this list because I didn't include Pixar films. I feel like Pixar's in its own league. I don't need to talk about it. But as a person who grew up with toys, and toys were a big part of my life, it was really cool to like see a world where it's like, here's a world where your stuffed animals are alive in this big, wide forest. The forest setting has always been interesting to me. I think it's like my favorite sort of setting to have, because it's not like a jungle where a lot of stuff's going on, which totally contradicts my last statement about Tarzan. But it's calm, it's cool, it's collected, it's green, it's just a nice place to be. So yeah, Winnie the Pooh was just a much more calm and joyous collection, and it read like a book. Like all the stories felt like they were part of a book, a storybook. And as a kid, I loved to read, so that was a big reason of why I liked it. All right, moving on to number 7. Number 7 is Robin Hood. Keeping with the, I guess, animal theme, Robin Hood is just Robin Hood, but with animals, and that's really cool. Foxes and bears, and it's Disney, so it works. This movie's, much like every other Disney movie on this list, is fun. That's where I get the most out of it. I love seeing all like the little kid characters that want to grow up to Robin Hood, and Robin Hood essentially is a superhero. He's a vigilante. He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector. The hood guy, no. He's just a sweet dude to like watch because he's cocky and he's arrogant and he's just like, I can do good and I'll get the girl, and that's really cool. I remember growing up and then later watching the film Robin Hood Men in Tights, a Mel Brooks film, so fantastic. That was really a nice like transition in my life, was moving from the Disney Robin Hood to the comedy Robin Hood. I've yet to see any like quote-unquote actual Robin Hood, like with people, and it's a serious thing. Like, I didn't see the Russell Crowe one. I didn't see the Kevin Costner one. Sorry, Superman. I didn't see your dad's as Robin Hood. But for this Robin Hood, I feel like it just has a nice charm to it. It really does, like I said, have that storybook feel. Not to mention, the music is just catchy. Any theme that you can whistle or hum, that automatically makes it good. And that opening theme is a whistle, so they've already got you catch. They're like, "Ooh, this is catchy. This is great." It's just fun, and the villains are interesting, and I just get a really big kick out of it. I feel like that's gonna be the most of this list. Is it was fun, but that's what Disney is to me. So get over it. Number 6 is Peter Pan. Peter Pan is, I guess, a movie that I watched a lot as a child, because what I did as a kid was I latched onto a movie and then watched it over and over and over again. So you took the VHS tape, you watched it, rewound it, watched it again. It was great because my grandma had this like separate VCR, like VHS rewinder thing that you could use. So that was super easy. Like, you put one in, rewind that, put it in another movie. Then when that movie's done, you switch them and you do it again. Like, that's so great. But Peter Pan, VHS. I don't know what. I have no idea what those two connect. But I watched Peter Pan a lot as a child, and so it has a nice special place to me. Being a kid forever definitely is like it's an interesting concept. Because you think, like, oh, as a kid, you do want to be a kid forever. You want to have fun, and you don't want to go to school or eat your vegetables. And it's like, wow, I can go to a place where that exists. But they also show you the downsides. They show you that there's Native Americans that try to make you smoke pot. And there's, like, no rules, and pirates. Like, it's not the best of places. It's super fun when you're having fun, but then it can just be like, well, where do I go to relax, to calm down, and who do I talk to about my problems? I don't have a mother, that sort of thing. So it's kind of sad, but I really do enjoy it. I love when Peter Pan does the impressions. That's really great. And Captain Hook is such a great villain. The fact that they still use him today in things is good in my book. He's one that you can do in different ways, because, yes, he's a threatening villain, even with the twirling mustache, Peter Pan. Like, he can do that, but obviously he's still, like, a childish and goofy, and he's a codfish and that sort of thing. So he works as a great cartoon Disney villain. He can be super cool and an adversary. You're still like, oh, Peter Pan, you gotta beat him, but it's not to the point where you like mock him. So you're not too afraid, but you don't like think he's a goof. At least I didn't. I don't know. I thought Captain Hook made a great villain. I could be completely wrong. But that was my number 5. Or actually, my number 6. I meant 6. Peter Pan's number 6. If I said 5 earlier, there'll be a thing. Anyways, moving on to my actual number 5. We have Aladdin. This movie was a movie I don't think I watched a whole lot as a kid. I think I watched it, like, later on. I don't know. If I watched it a lot as a kid, I don't remember watching it a lot as a kid. But, I watched it later. This chair makes noises. Either way, this movie, I wouldn't say isn't like the best Disney animated movie. I don't think it looks the best. I don't think it has the best story. But I still have a lot of enjoyment out of it. I feel like Aladdin is another one of those cool characters, like I was talking about Robin Hood earlier, and I guess to an extent Peter Pan. He's a cool guy, he's just riff-raff, street rat. I don't buy that. Only they look closer. Would they see a poor boy? Fucking, I don't know. Maybe. He's a cool guy, and he's nice to kids. Like, he steals the bread, and then he gives it to the homeless kid, and Abu is like, I tried to do an Abu voice just then, and it just totally failed, and I bailed immediately. I'm not... Who did the voice? Frank Welker? Maybe. Yeah, so I just feel like Aladdin is just a cool guy. He's just so hip and now. Not so fast, Jafar. Like, he's just cool. And this, I don't need a super realistic, human relatable character all the time. Sometimes I do like characters that I can look up to be and be awesome. I can't really relate to Aladdin. I've never been super poor. So I don't know. The love story is really nice. Jasmine is a princess, and that's just basic knowledge. Jasmine is a princess that I feel like stands out from most of the other princesses. Is it because she's Arabian? Maybe. I feel like she's just, I don't know. She just stands out a bit more than Belle or Cinderella to me. I don't know what it is. I think it's because she has a tiger. Probably because she has a tiger. Just saying. Anyways, yeah, I feel like a lot of the characters in this, I love Iago and Jafar. Jafar! Like, those are just voices that resonate with me. You know, Jafar was just a cool villain, and Iago was he's a stupid little minion, and stupid little henchman minions are always great. Of course, you know, there's Robin Williams as Genie. I don't know why I paused there. I know who he is. He's the big blue guy that grants magic. I had a lot of Robin Williams as a kid. I watched Hook a lot, probably more so than Peter Pan. Huh, that's weird. I watched Mrs. Doubtfire a lot, and of course I watched this later on. And so Robin Williams is a voice that really sticks with me, and I can really enjoy him for who he is. And in this, it's just Robin Williams being Robin Williams. You know, he's saying for things fast, like, ooh, ah, look at this. Flash, flash. You know, it's a lot of flash. There's a lot of just quick fun in it, and I don't think that's always bad. I feel like Robin Williams really pulls that off for me. Yeah, so Genie's just an interesting character, and he's super fun. Phenomenal cosmic power. Live in space. You know, he's just a fun guy to be around, and making references constantly. Like, yeah, they're dated references, and no one understands them anymore, but I understand them. It was my dream, my wish. And Goonies. Not a Disney film. My number 4, just moving straight on. F it. No, number 4 is Atlantis, The Lost Empire. Atlantis is, I guess, one of the newer films, you know, towards like the Tarzan era, Lilo and Stitch. That sort of, I don't like Lilo and Stitch. Sort of that era. And Atlantis was just, it was full of adventure, and I guess you can kind of see that from some of my other lists on here, or movies on here. I love adventure in a film. I love the non-stop, like, here we go, we're on a fun ride, and this is just great. Not to mention, people die in that movie. That's you know, I wish they wouldn't stray away from that in kids' movies. I noticed I was watching Wreck-It Ralph today, and when, spoiler alert, King Candy is like torturing Wreck-It Ralph and making him watch the death of Penelope. He's like, let's watch you die. Like, it almost kind of threw me off guard. Like, whoa, this is really death and, you know, violent for a Disney movie. And then I remembered, oh wait, they were just always like that. People always die. What am I thinking? I think that was just an interesting thing for Disney to just put it out there on the table. I feel like death is a thing that should be dealt with. It's like not necessarily like gruesome and gore and going into the philosophy of things like that, but acknowledging death. You know, don't dance around it. Let's look at the original Sleeping Beauty. You know, original Sleeping Beauty was like, she'll prick her finger and die. Compared to the new Maleficent, where she's like, she will prick her finger and fall into a sleep-like death. Like a sleep-like death. What? You know what, this isn't a Maleficent rant. That's a completely different video, but back to Atlantis. Atlantis has Michael J. Fox in it, so that's an automatic plus for me. Michael J. Fox, of course, being part of my favorite trilogy of all time, so that's really great. Not to mention, Milo was kind of like a nerdy guy. You know, he like had books all the time, and he had glasses and brown hair, and so that was a character I could relate to. Because as a kid, I had glasses, and I read a lot, and, you know, I have brown hair. I feel like that was just a character. I looked at him, and I could see me somehow. Like, if I wanted to today, I could cosplay as him, and that means I can be him. That's a completely different level as a kid. Back then, I was just like, that guy, Michael J. Fox. I was Mickey Mouse as a child. Ha ha! He has glasses! Like, that's just what I connected with. I connected with Harry Potter because Harry Potter had glasses and he was different. I was different and had glasses, and it's just how it works. I feel like Atlantis has a bunch of interesting characters. It's got Jim Varney in it as Cookie, and he's hilarious. You know, the 4 basic food groups: bean, bacon, whiskey, and lard. Like, these are just interesting and fun characters. And of course, you got like the bad guys who are interesting in themselves. They were very threatening, but of course, you know, our heroes are going to come out on top, and it's just I love the cast in this film. You know, there's so many just different characters that play well off each other that I love them. I use the line, boom, no more Chinese laundry, a lot, but no one understands what I'm saying because Atlantis, no one saw it, I guess. I don't know. I know my friend Abrar didn't see it. You heard me, Abrar. I know you didn't see the movie. Either way, Atlantis is just a fun movie for me. It also takes place underwater, which I feel like is a really, once again, much like The Forest, is really cool and interesting in water. It's quiet, but at the same time dangerous. It's a cool place to be, you know, under the sea. Yeah. I like the water. That's what I'm trying to get at. Fun movie. I really enjoy Atlantis a lot. Now we're getting to the top 3 of the films. You know, this is the best of the best, the end-all, be-all best Disney films, but not really. It's just my personal favorites. Now, my number 3, it didn't get a theatrical release. Granted, I don't think Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh did either. I doubt. No, it didn't. But this movie is a movie that was, once again, much like every other Disney film, a huge part of my childhood. So, my number 3 is the extremely goofy movie. And this movie is such a product of its time. Like, I feel like you could still relate to these things, you know, the subject matter. But, I mean, the movie's about, like, skateboarding and being cool and the X Games. The X Games, of course, still go around today, but they aren't nearly as big, I think. I think, like, in the early 2000s, skateboarders were such a cool thing. You know, we had this, and we had rocket power, and we had, like, tech decks and stuff, but, like, tech decks with the figures. It wasn't just skateboards. I don't know. It was a time of radical and cool, and check out these awesome skating moves, you know, gotta go fast like Sonic, that sort of thing. And so this movie, being about the Goofy, it's a sequel to a Goofy movie, which is, I do enjoy a lot. It's not on this list, but I feel like it's a fun movie, and one of my, I guess, if I had to, it would be like top, 11, I guess. I don't know. But this movie's just fun. It's interesting. It's something, once again, that I have a lot of nostalgia for. That's really what this list is really about. Like, if I could just sum up this entire list, it's nostalgia. For Tangled, it was a feeling of older Disney films. So, but yeah, I feel like I'm just sort of rambling. I really don't know what to say about this. I love the voice actors. I feel like this is one of those movies where later back I go, oh, okay, that was Will Friel's friend in Boy Meets World. Oh, awesome. Oh, that's Jim Cummings and Rob Paulson and Brad Garrett. Everybody loves Raymond. Those were one of the films I looked back and I realized, like, wow, voice actors are really cool. And that sort of thing. But yeah, this is just, it resonated with me as a kid because I wanted to be cool and hip and do all that stuff, but it's also got a really interesting message about, fathers and family and all that sort of thing. It's also a throwback to the 70s, and that's really cool. I like the 70s, even though I have no really, relationship with them. I wasn't there. But Star Wars was there, and I like Star Wars, so, I've got to bake a number of 2. Alright, moving on to my number 2 on the list. This is a fantastic, beautiful film. Little film called Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty is probably the best looking Disney film ever. And I actually didn't know about all the backstory of how it this almost put Disney Animation out of business until watching ChiefBrodyRules' video, but I can totally see why, because every freaking scene in that movie is a piece of art. Like, if I wanted to own a cell from that film, I don't know what I would want. Well, probably something with Maleficent, but everything's beautiful, so it's so just, it's great. This movie, of course, spawns my favorite Disney villain, Maleficent, because she's just evil. She's evil, and she knows it. She is Magneto, but Maleficent. Magnificent. Whoa. Just realize. Okay. But yeah, she's super cool. I like that she turns into a big dragon. That's interesting. If you want to know my opinion on Maleficent, it's not very good. But as far as Sleeping Beauty goes, I think this is just a masterpiece. Aurora is, of course, my favorite Disney princess, just because she, I don't really know what it is. She stands out. She's just perfect without being quote unquote perfect, if you understand. Like, I feel like Cinderella is like, oh, it's Cinderella, the perfect princess, or you've got Belle, who is like, oh, she likes books, that's her thing. Aurora's just good, and I really like good characters. I like good people. Like, if Aurora was, like, in the Avengers, she'd be the Captain America of the group, I think. I don't know if she has, like, that resignation as far as who, like, she's that important, but I feel like she's just a good person all around, and there's no quirks or anything like that, so I think she's Captain America. She's Captain America in my book. My dream, my wish. Again with the Goonies. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I just love this film. It's beautiful. It's great. It's my favorite Disney princess film, so I guess that should tell you, number one, not a princess film, what could it be? That sort of thing. So, going into my number one. Now, as you guys have realized from the video, I'm a product of the 90s. That's when I was born, so those are the movies I grew up with. That was just a huge part of my childhood, was films late 90s, early 2000s. Those films that was it. You know, that was the perfect time to be a kid, because it was just, animation was the best ever. Oh, if you weren't born in the 90s, you didn't have a childhood. I'm not one of those people, but I'm just saying there's a lot of good stuff out there. Either way, number one is Hercules. Now, Hercules is, I wouldn't say, you know, it's necessarily the best looking film or, you know, anything like that, but I feel like it has its own special, unique way that it really, really stands out to me. I love it a lot. Not to mention, Hercules is a hero, and being someone that grew up with Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, I loved heroes. I love the idea of just this person willing to help others. And of course, Hercules has an interesting spin on it, because at first, you know, he's not doing it just to help people. He's doing it because he wants to become a god and be with his family, which is a noble cause. You know, if I was like the son of a god, and my dad was like, son, if you want to come live with mommy and daddy, you better, like, save some people, I would do that. But later he soon realizes that being a hero isn't just about, you know, merchandise and whether you're in action. You know, that's not about, you know, that's not what makes a hero. He realizes that being a hero, you have to make sacrifices and be selfless and that sort of thing. Not to mention, I love Megra, you know, friends call her Meg, that is if she had any friends. So that's just a strong female character, in my opinion. And she's got that, like, sort of sexy voice. I can't do it, because I have a cartoony voice, I'd like to think. So it's just, I really enjoy her. I love Danny DeVito. Growing up, you know, Danny DeVito was all over the place. He was in Twins, he was in Batman, and now he's here again. Get your sword! It's so... love Danny DeVito. He's such a fun guy. To this day, I still watch Danny DeVito. He's such a great character and Always Sunny, and he's just a ball of fun. You know what I mean? Either way. I love James Woods as Hades. I feel like Hades is an interesting villain. You know, he's not super threatening like Maleficent or anyone like this. He's not like Scar or he's not super evil, you know? But I get a kick out of him because I feel like he's just sort of doing his own stand-up routine and doing his own thing. And pretty much all of his jokes make me laugh, so I feel like that's something I can enjoy. I don't think that villains need to be super threatening all the time. I feel like, and I know that's the point of a villain, villains are bad, but this villain is so full of himself, where it's like, he doesn't come off as quote-unquote evil. I guess he does evil things, but to me, Hades is just like, hey, I gotta do what I gotta do, so you're in my way, I'm gonna mess you up, but, it's whatever, who cares? Oh, God. Hades is like, oh, a fan, I gotta take him to the underworld. I don't know where else to cut that. So I just feel like he's a great character. I love Pegasus. I think that's one of the coolest, like, animal companions in a hero movie. I think he's better than a Boo and Flounder and the horse from Tangled combined. So all of them, put them in a pot, cook them up, not as good as Pegasus. Because Pegasus is just, he's great. It's a flying horse. Like, how cool is that? I don't know. I think it's cool. I think that's just what this movie is. And much like everything on this list, it has adventure. It has a great sense of, yeah, let's go do things. That, and the songs are just so good. There's so many different feelings I get from these songs. They can be really upbeat and like, yeah, Hercules, like that. Or they can, be a nice, like, emotional tone of him finding his way. And as a kid, and a lot of people at different ages, finding your own way is a big part of your life. And that's exactly what Hercules is all about, is who are you as a person? It's a great coming-of-age story. I'm attracted to coming-of-age stories. I love, Spider-Man and things like that, so I really get attached to those kind of guys. Hercules is great. Hercules had a cartoon. I watched it. Not as good as the movie, but still really enjoyable. But those are my top 10 Disney movies. I made it because ChiefBrodyRules made one, because he has like a bajillion subscribers or something. He deserves more because his videos are funny. But I thought, hey, I should share my Disney thoughts too, because I'm a product of Disney, and I feel like people should know that. Either way, I don't know how this video is going to turn out. I hope the audio is funny, because I don't feel like editing a whole bunch of stuff like Frank does. Excuse me. So, there you go. I don't know if this video was a mess or what, but either way, there you go, folks. Have a beautiful day. Don't forget to support your local Disney. Sure, I don't know what that means.